Hey everyone, welcome to the Geo Community Call for August 10th. Had a really great week last week, and we've got a bunch of things um, happening across protocol development, product, content, and it feels like things are really starting to converge around the work that we're doing to enable our light curators around organizing claims and topics and rankings and really starting to show really high quality overviews of different topics in preparation for debates. So really excited to dive deeper into all of this stuff with you guys today. Thank you for joining, and let's kick it off. So, Davila, the floor is yours.
Thanks and hello, everybody. We have a very interesting agenda today, so we'll start with product updates from Preston. We'll move forward to the fact-checking discussion that we agreed we'll hold today. Then Arturas is going to show us a new space that we've kicked off, Geo Agent Hub. And we'll move as customary to content highlights by our editing team. So without further ado, Preston, please tell us what's new in Geo.
Awesome. Thanks, Davila. Yeah, so you'll notice that on Space homepages now, the overview tab is set up a little bit differently. So this is the AI Spaces overview tab. I went through and updated the crypto, health, and world affairs space. I'll get the US politics space as soon as my editorship request goes through. Um, but I just want to go through a few of these updates. So you'll see this first block is going to be a debates block. And so this is actually just a gallery view block. And if you guys don't have it already enabled, you probably don't, but there's this debates functionality is behind a feature flag right now. So it might show up a little bit weird for you right now. We are stabilizing one or two things on the back end, and then we'll remove the feature flag. So expect that to be released mid this week. But if you click on one of these debates, it'll bring you to a full screen view of that debate, and you can actually listen to it here. So and then you can scroll through those in an infinite scroll view. So this functionality is coming. That's not the main thing I wanted to point out here, though. I just wanted to kind of note what this block was about. You can see the people who debated's name and the claim they debated here. You can go through and upvote and downvote them. You'll also notice this view all button. So if I click on view all, you'll see actually this is going to be just an all debates data block. And the way that's set up, if you want to have a view all button on the data block you're making, is you actually go to the data block itself, and there's a view all property. So it's just a relation property, and the first entity in that relation property is what this is going to go to. So I would just created this all debates entity and linked it there, and then made the data block show. So that's one quick new feature about this gallery view data block for the AIs or for the spaces. One second. There we go. So that's kind of this first data block up here. You'll also notice that I have different display dimensions for these images. The way that's set up is I just made the image. So I took the avatar out of the properties and then added debate videos, which is a property that's going to be on all of these debate entities. And then if I go to the debate videos property, you'll notice that there is a height and width in pixels properties, and those are set to 820 by 540, which is the pixel dimensions of those images. And so that's how the images are set on those gallery view blocks. So if you, for some reason, want to set up a block that has images with different dimensions, that's how you would do it. You just go to the image property and set the default dimensions for that image. The next two blocks you'll see here is trending claims and trending topics. So the goal with these blocks is they're actually going to be for the light curators to kind of come through and have a task they can contribute each day. And so you'll see that this block says rank and this block says view. The reason that they're different is I've already submitted a ranking on this block today. And every 24 hours, I can come back and submit another ranking. So essentially, the way this works is this is what's called a rolling ranking block. And so I'll submit a ranking, and then whatever the submission frequency is set to, right now it's at 24 hours. So 24 hours after my ranking is submitted, it'll fall off and no longer be aggregated into the global ranking here. And then I can submit a new one. The goal here is to keep these fresh. And so that's why you can kind of submit rankings every 24 hours. So with these claims, also there's a few other implementations we're going to be implementing to make ranking claims a little bit easier. But right now, the easiest way to do it is just go in and then search for the things that are interesting to you, whether that be, open weight models, Anthropic, Claude, whatever it is, and then look through the claims that are there. Or you can go find the claim you want and copy and paste it into the search when you're in this ranking view. And just to show kind of how those are set up, I can go to the block itself as well there. So you'll see that the submission frequency here is set to 24 hours. And you can also see that it has a rolling ranking type on that ranking block. Then you will also see one second while this loads. There we go. You'll also see there is a recent news data block, and that's going to have a bunch of different entity types in it. Right now, it's going to have news stories, claims, episode, debate, paper, or tweet. And each space can kind of decide what they want to include here. They can remove some of these, but by default, we're going to include these types. And then it's sorted by publish time. You'll also notice that this is the same view that you have on the Explore tab. So this is actually what's called an Explore view data block. So instead of having, gallery, list, or bullet, you have Explore. And also note this data block up here has the pill view. So that's why it shows as pills. And then the other thing to note here is that the Explore view by default is infinite scroll. So you can just scroll forever instead of having this be paginated. So we're going to be introducing, so right now Explore views are by default infinite scroll. We're introducing a feature to make infinite scroll settable on any data block. And that's going to be on the relation entity. There's going to be a infinite scroll checkbox. So this property here, and then if infinite scroll checkbox is checked on, then the data block would be infinite scroll. And if it's not checked on or just unset, then it would not be. So that kind of goes over the main updates to these blocks. So the main thing for curators is we want to try and get these trending topics and trending claims to have rankings relatively frequently. So if you ever notice you haven't submitted ranking in one, feel free to go in and do that. And then the other thing to touch on here is that there's been some questions about the difference between your upvote downvote and actually submitting a ranking. And the upvote downvote is going to be for claims specifically is actually going to be used in the debates view. So it's going to be to establish your position of whether you kind of agree or disagree with the claim. And then it's also going to be used for overall entity scoring, which is sort of like your visibility. So if a claim has more upvotes on it, it's going to be more visible. So the goal is really to submit the votes relatively frequently, and then also submit rankings as well. So rankings are also going to contribute to global scores for entities to show how visible they are. So if a claim has higher rankings, then they're going to show more frequently. So they're a little bit different. And really the goal is to get both of them to be used, but the rankings can be kind of more frequently and understand trends better than the static upvote downvotes can. So yeah, those are the big updates there. Any questions on the new overview page setup? Cool. Well, if you guys end up having questions, feel free to ask in
I do
Discord.
have a question.
Oh, yep.
If I edit my ranking and add a new entity, does the counter reset?
No, so you can edit your ranking at any time, and it won't won't reset your clock. All it will do is update the ranking that you submitted for this 24-hour window, and then when that window is up, you'll be able to submit a new ranking.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Preston. A lot of good information for people owning their spaces to start and playing around with the space designs. Thanks for sharing and touring.
Yep. And one last thing to update, or one last thing to note there is, if you create a new space, um, this will get, or we're updating the template used when you create a space to actually replicate this. So creating a new space with these blocks should be really simple. That update should be coming through in the next couple days. So it's not implemented just yet, but it's I just reviewed the PR, so it should be coming through quite quickly.
Cool, thank you.
Yep.
And we have some space owners on the call, so I'm sure it's going to be useful for them. So the next segment is the fact-checking discussion, and we did a tour of our curators who are already doing this work in one way or another. We also have Armando who's prepared a presentation. So let's start with curator impressions and then move on to Armando. And we have Maxim on the call. Maxim has agreed to share his thoughts on fact-checking that he had during his intensive sessions on the ATG that he shared a couple of weeks ago. Hey, Maxim.
Hey, yes.
Hi there. So what are your thoughts on fact-checking? What do you think the main principles are? What's your experience on Geo?
Okay. 1 minute, please. Hi, everyone. I want to share a few truths about fact-checking, mainly based on my experience building the agent taxonomy graph. ATG included 133 agent system, and for every important claim, I tried to find and check the original source. One thing became clear very quickly. Finding information is usually not the hardest part. The hard part is understanding where a claim came from, whatever the source really supports it, and how much we can trust that source. For example, you may find a capability in a README, and the README links to a preprint, but the preprint describes an older version. And then another article repeats the same claim without adding new evidence. I also found several GitHub repositories, what I could no longer treat as reliable sources. Some projects were abandoned and a few had stronger warning things. They looked possible compromised or misleading. I could not prove exactly what happened, so I removed those agents from the verified dataset. That gave me one important lesson. Sometimes before asking, does this source support the claim, we first need to ask, can we still trust this source? Three other problems also became clear. First, traceability. Adding a source is not enough. The source must support the exact claim. Second, there is an important difference between we found no evidence and there is no evidence. They sound similar, but they mean different things. Maybe nobody check it yet, or maybe somebody checked it careful and found it nothing. Third, circular sourcing. 10 articles may repeat the same information, but all 10 can come from one original source. So 10 articles do not always mean 10 independent confirmations. This is especially important for news. I also think simple true or false labels are often not enough. Simple true or false labels may need status. We may need status like verified, disputed, insufficient evidence, and out of date. And for fast changing information in AI, crypto, and markets, old verification may need to be checked again. A claim may be correct today and no longer correct a few months later. So instead of automatically calling an old claim out of date, it could be market review due after a certain period. For example, 3 months as a signal for curators to check it again. The review period could depend on the type of information. The main lesson from ATG experience is simple. It is better to check individual claims separately instead of saying that a whole page or article is verified. And the useful result is not only a true or false answer, but a clear chain from the claim to the evidence and the source. There are the main lessons from my ATG work and what I wanted to share today. Thank you.
Thank you, Maxim. Well-rounded deep thoughts on sourcing and some hints at possible solutions.
Yeah, so, some great insights there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Maxim. We also have Kevin on call, another one of our veteran curators who also had some thoughts on fact-checking.
Hi, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm a little blurry here, but I have a couple thoughts. Yeah, I'm kind of been an editor of the pharma space and health space, but in the pharma space, as I'm trying to kind of work with people to build things out, the thoughts that I had is initially keep the data set manageable and understand the inputs and outputs. So that was really key for me. There's 1,000 things I could have gone to, and I really got myself into deep water pretty quickly there. So I tried to scale it back and keep the data set really kind of manageable and authoritative. Go to authoritative sources and use less subjective information initially starting. And then from there, I kind of worked to what we're trying to do is iterate through my approach and just check the outputs and just keep doing that and keep doing that and keep doing that and use my expertise as like the calibration tool. And that was a good way to kind of get my feet wet there because you're not maybe totally sure what the output's going to look like, how things connect. Things can get away from you really quickly, especially when you're using chatbots and it just starts to populate stuff. It's hard to kind of check all those inputs. So keep things manageable, validate the output, and then kind of calibrate to that point. The next thing that I'm kind of working on here, I've been inspired by a lot of people on X, and then people like Captain Mo did a presentation like a month ago about this, agent teams and kind of having them do that work for you through the space and then produce action reports. So one of the things that we'll be working on this week in the pharma space is taking bounty work that Dini had done, one of our curators, and expanding it. So he had done a lot of initial ontology work, and now that we know that that's validated and we have a good lattice from which to build, I can have the teams go in and then populate that data out at scale. And then we'll have agents that can kind of walk our graph a little bit and find issues perhaps. But early on, especially still now, we're trying to keep everything, I would say, objective, because the more subjective and the more we get into like descriptions without like a defined way that they're being derived, the more you get into variables that you might lose. When you start to lose your place, that's when things start to get a little out of control. So from a fact-checking perspective, that's been a good way for me to kind of control things.
Thanks, Kevin. Another important aspect of fact-checking sources and then the data set itself and how it's formatted. Thank you. So Maxim and Kevin are not the only curators who had thoughts on fact-checking. Unfortunately, not everybody could make it to the call, so I collected some impressions from the rest of our community who are doing fact-checking and just compiled a quick synthesis basically of what they shared with me during last week. And I'll go through it. So overall, the curators are observing that these bounties have a whole different format as to what we had earlier, where success was defined more with breadth of research and the volume of contributions. Whereas the fact-checking bounties are contrary to that because they require more precision and judgment. So it's more of a vertical view at the data sets. And this is one of the reasons why fact-checking is usually taken up by more experienced curators rather than people who are just joining the community from the start. And all of them had some, different things and then some similarities. So some similarities that everybody mentioned was mostly in the method of how they do. So it's always AI assisted. That's similar as Kevin and Maxim hinted at. But in all cases, AI results are human verified. So usually curators send links, verified dates, compare claims via the AI, then confirm the issues manually or ask the AI to double check or check it multiple times. And nobody really has a set standardized workflow yet for fact checking. It's more of an improvisation of tools that they have on hand or that they prefer. So either a manual search, AI chat, or Geo Assistant, or a mix of all of these. One of the most refined workflows of a curator who's done, I think, most fact-checking in comparison to the rest. So that person opens each link in Geo that they want to check, and then they copy and paste the text to the AI rather than giving it an URL. Then they have a specific format that they ask their AI to select. So they have a predefined criteria depending on the thing that they're fact-checking. And then the result that they are asking for is to only display significant issues and define what is displayed, what the problem is, what the suggested correction is, and then the exact supporting source for that correction, which is then verified by hand, going source by source manually. So we can see it's quite precision full work that they've refined.
That's a great slide. Could we go back there for a second? So just some thoughts on this is it kind of raises that even though, this really points to doing a lot of manual, checking for yourself, that even this has AI workflows. And it's an interesting, point that like more and more, I feel like people aren't going to want to do tedious tasks manually themselves. Like we are kind of going to use AI for some things. The question is, for what? And if there's certain things where, imagine you have a prompt to, get a quote unchanged from the original source and provide it to me. Obviously the issue with AI is it's still non-deterministic. So even something like that, it could potentially mess up. And so I'd be curious, and maybe this is something that we should do as a next stage of this, or task somebody to do, which is an interesting question, is for the different models with the different types of steps. Let's say that we did come up with community guidelines or internal terminology for how we describe what process was used to source or check something, to know for different types of what prompts or commands like this that we would have, what the failure rate is with different models. I feel like that would be really interesting for people to know, as people are trying to save money too. So if you want to delegate to a cheaper model for certain tasks that you think are simple, it'd be nice to know like what's the failure rate in for each of these different steps.
Arturo, some ideas for the agent hub space.
Yeah, we are working on it.
Yeah, so some rules that mostly everyone that I talk to deploy, which we can agree or disagree with. Most people prefer to stick with the attached sources only, so they only scope the sources that we have on Geo already. Then, as discussed before, they always verify whatever the AI is suggesting or double check the result. And people tend to also prefer official sources, whatever their interpretation of the official source is. So if there are several, they mostly prefer whatever they consider official. What gets found? Now we get into a definition, I guess, what fact-checking is and what's just error correction. When it comes to claims, people find that there are either missing attached sources or that the claim formatting drops important context. So the reader is left with an incomplete picture. So people who are fact-checking claims, their approach it not necessarily only that if it is it true, but is it sufficiently complete to understand fully. When we get to dates, people are noticing that we have some issues with reversing dates, which then impact chronological context, and that there are some lagging in setting the dates for news stories. When it comes to people and sources, people find that country names are sometimes noted as related people. There are related individuals missing in the relationships, or that there are names drifts, or source formatting is incorrect. So as a result, I think we already kind of hinted at it. The community is looking for standardizing the approach to fact-checking, so everyone understands what fact-checking is and can be more confident in whatever workflow that they apply to fact-check. Maxime has also already mentioned that it would be nice to know which entities have been fact-checked and which ones just haven't been looked at yet. And some guidance on claim granularity was also mentioned, meaning that some claims bundle several independent claims, some claims are more concise. So some guidance on what is preferred when it comes to fact-checking, because when it comes to fact-checking, obviously it's easier to fact-check a claim that only has a single fact rather than multiple ones. But again, up to community to decide what the preferred standard is. And thank you to Adam, Hasnat, and Mikhail, who couldn't make it to the call, but were very helpful preparing the presentation. Thanks, guys. So that's the community section of fact-checking. And now we have Armando, who has some thinking around fact-checking from the editor side.
Hello, everybody. So I prepare a presentation. It's way too long to present it right now. I will leave the URL for you to review. I will try to do a short summary. Okay, so as you see, I cannot separate the loop from source and reputation in order to fact check. If I want to fact check something, I need to know the source the claim is coming from, and I need to know the reputation and the bias from the source. I start my exploration by looking whatever existing solution exists. So here I have an extensive directory of solution, where they are located, what are the most useful for Geo, what are using the median newsroom, how we connect, etc., etc. I put it in HTML here, so you will be able to play around with it. What it is? Oh, I lost it. It's here. You see, you will be able to. I'm not 100% sure of the filter. I will have a look after the call, but here you should have the same info that was here available, and for you to browse and to check. Okay. So that's what the existing solution for fast checking are on the market. We already use some of them in an MVP. I will present you to the end. Okay. I've been to start my work. I summarize the transcript for last week meeting, and I isolate the main questions. I like to try to have a framework to work on by giving my position on some of these questions. Okay, for the source, I took a focus which is to separate the source by the data type. We will not work with a news outlet the same way we are working with a university, with the government, with a federal agency. So I am isolating the type. And I am doing the same for the person. So I've been working on journalist, independent journalist, citizen journalist, researcher, influencer, and so on. Okay. Regarding the people, I've been publishing on Geo a tab source for every main space with a source directory showing what are actually the source used by Geo News, the news app. That's all the source by space we're using. Over here, as you can see, so I've done my best to provide as much information as possible by source. I will show you with Politico, which is better informed. So I'm providing the editorial board, all the social, the owners, the founders, then later the owners will have as a project a person with a property shareholding, with the ownership stake they own in the newspaper, etc. I am very emphatic on owners. It always has been a battle for me. Like I consider that we should know all the owners of a news outlet. Later on, I've been working to extend this source directory to people. So, Yaniv, you request to work on citizen journalism last week. I've made a list of citizen journalists, as well as independent journalists, as OSINT researcher, as influencer, as independent investigator, as analyst. So it looks something like this. Here you have and they are all categorized by topic. I need to do another Python list, and I'm missing some avatar, but you have information about the information look like this. You have the role, you have the topics they're working on, and I've been made a lot of research work on finding the social as, for example, the YouTube channel and stuff like this to be able to collect the data they publish. Okay. So already published on Geo, we have this source tab with this directory of source. Okay. The next step will be to work on the reputation and credibility and bias of these people. So I showed you last week that I had an advanced work on news outlets. I continue this work. I add more scoring, more bias system. I start working on properties. It's pretty much done to publish on Geo. I didn't have time to publish before the call, but it will be done soon. So as you can see, you will obtain at the end a bunch of data regarding credibility and bias for every outlet. Okay, for people, it's a bit different. I'm trying I've been focused on bias of the people. What I am trying to isolate are the declared bias versus the detected bias, and I am sourcing everything. Okay, so I will not declare a bias or will not say that somebody declared his own bias without a source. So I am collecting the source and I will publish everything in it. Okay. So I would like to show you some highlights that I've been working on. So for the source on categorization, I've been working on creating tags and type for the source in order to be able to understand which are the business news, the trade publications, the crypto outlets, the newsletter, whatever. On the sorry for this. So I was mentioning my AI workflow in the introduction. I would like to show you a bit how it's look. That I am using several models in parallel in order to cross-check to do quality control. So in general, I will start drafting something with Cloud Code, then I will ask to GPT to check for accuracy. Then I will go to Perplexity to do a final check. Then I will come back to Cloud to structure, and then I will go to Cloud Code to publish. As you see, doing a bunch of iteration to check accuracy and to do the completion. I had even 43 version for my people master. Then, as I was telling you, the work I've made on citizen journalist, I think is kind of exclusive because obviously I start searching for top 100 citizen journalists in USA, who are the best citizen journalists. There are absolutely no such ranking, no such source. So I've been doing this mixed job between AI and manual, like adding people, sometimes one by one, to start listing them. For the bias and reputation, as I showed you, I am working on this system for declared versus detected versus inherited. For example, a journalist who is working for a conservative outlet will inherit the bias from its conservative, and it will be weighted with its declared and detected bias. Okay, I've been working on ontology, creating different role for people, and also I've been working for, I create different type to drill down on the publisher. So we have public broadcaster, news agency, think tank, newsletter, etc. What I would like to show you now, thanks to Russia, we were able to work to advance an MVP to fact check the claim. It's already live. This is the way it works. If you want to have a look later on it, I will show you some of its results. Okay. So this is the UI. You will enter any kind of claim here. We are already searching for the latest claim on Geo. You can select whatever last claim was published, and you can check on it. So when you click on check, it will give you, it takes around 1 minute. We will improve later the latency, but it will give you a result. In this case, it's supported. All the claims are supporting with source categorized by reliability and bias, and we will try to extract a code directly from this source. Okay, this is not a good example. Come on, let's see for another one. Meanwhile, when you click on a code, it will bring you to the original source with the code highlighted. Okay, see if you are more lucky with this one. You see? So it will bring you directly to the source. Okay, let's stop with this experiment. I will show you what look a claim when it's refuted. So this one is mixed. You have you have to make your own decision on it. Okay. You have so it's a classic one. You will have the supporting source, you will have the opposing source, and you will also have some context at the end, helping you to understand better what is happening. So, for example, if you enter a very false claim, like the US Senate has 200 voting members, it will tell you, obviously, it's wrong. It will tell you why it's wrong. It will give you code of why it's wrong. And finally, it will give you context, like, well, you need to, you can understand to better make your opinion. We are looking to improve this claim checker and to integrate it into Geo in the injector. Whenever you will add a source for a claim, it will, if it's the source is an article, it will create the article for you and it will fact check for you.
This is amazing.
The last point I will be emphatic about is the reintroduction of code. As you see, they are working, and I would love to be able to reintroduce them for news and even for podcast, because there's a real sustain of the claim that give us immediately a fact check of a claim. So it will be cool if we can reintroduce them. I will share the full presentation on Discord for you to be able to navigate. And I would love to have some of your feedback, and if you have questions, will be available for you.
Thank you, Armando. Very impressive work, as always.
Yeah, really well done. I love everything from the ontology work to the process itself. And it looks like it works incredibly well. So I actually hope that we start using that. And do we have that integrated yet into a flow where it will actually publish, uh, the all of the source relations and things?
I know it's an MVP, just like it was just for demo purpose. The idea is to see how we can, if we can first, if we can still progress on it,
Yeah.
uh, and how we can integrate it directly into Geo. But
Yeah, it looks great, especially for like the top claims of the day. We
mhm.
should totally be doing that. And then, I mean, publishing that out and then having that. I think, being able to see, from the existing sources what the controversy of the claim is, I think is really interesting. And actually, yeah, starting to actually cite all of those sources. I mean, that's really wonderful. Um, what were some of the biggest open questions or issues that you found?
Like I still on the reflection for reputation for things which are out of the box. Like as I show you, we have bunch of solutions for outlets and for journalists. Some existing solution for big public figures, but we are missing solution to fact check papers. What Maxim was mentioning, to fact check repository. What we will work on it with more this week. And like how we fact so very important things that is we still to put in place is the tracking. Like obviously we want to record when somebody make a claim which is which is support or oppose. We would like to keep this record and establishing discourse reliability records for people and for projects. So if Armando on Monday said next week I will have a presentation and I do not have the presentation, we will keep this record and my reputation will low. So I think one of the big next step is working on this tracking and how we associate this record to the people.
Awesome, Armando. There are already curators who want to jump on your app and start using it. So everyone's looking forward to not just MVP, but to the final vision that you have.
Yeah, it's you can. I will share the link. It's inside the presentation. You can already use it. It's working. So as I was telling you, it's a bit slow. We need to improve the speed, but there are you will discover, for example, when you search for the last claim, it will automatically give you the date of when the claim was published. The context is kind of cool, but we just improve it today, so we can improve it better. We have a lot of work to do, but it's an interesting domain to work on.
Okay, a developing competence here in the community. It's going to be interesting to check in a couple of weeks' time when everyone's settled with the new tool and the workflows and see how the platform looks after a little bit. Thanks again, Armando.
Thank you.
And now we have Arturas with an announcement of a new and exciting space. Please take it away.
Hey, so we're introducing the agents hub space on Geo. So this space came from a practical need and a real situation on the ground. So obviously we all live in an age, an era of AI, and every editor, and I assume every curator uses AI in some way. So probably all of us here have an agent and agent teams that do any work for us, including the knowledge work. So how do we leverage that for Geo? So we have the Agents Hub space where we can join. So if you have a good agent, please feel free to join us here. And within the space, first of all, we start from the Geo skills. So these are the Geo skills from our Explorers Git repository. So this already enables your agent to understand how Geo works and how to read and write data there. And we have a guide set up for us by Mo and Vytautas, for both people in the skills team for working on this, how to set it up quickly. So you can set up your agent to understand the works and interworkings on Geo, and then we can start to have the fun. So within the space, right now, our general approach to the space is to build fast and practical. So we have two topics on which we are focusing at first. So we have AI research and agent safety. So for AI, and we kind of consider that these are two topics that are best to start with, right? Like we later obviously will expand to many more topics, but these topics, understanding them and organizing knowledge around them well, helps us to build the Geo agents that then help us to build out the space. So in the research, for example, so we have already some initial content here. So we have some research papers on how to do research with AI. So we're going meta here. And we have blog posts, X posts on using AI for research well. And of course, we have the skills. So the specific skills from different places we found on the web that seemed high quality to us, that are specific skills you can give your agent to do better work at research. So this helps us. So if you give your agent some of these skills, it will be better at research. So it will be able to find information that's useful for the space faster. Then the agent safety topic, same. We have some research papers, some blog posts, X posts from different sources. This is kind of documentation that help us to understand how safety works, right? So how to fend off the prompt ingestion attacks, how to know if the skill that you're looking at a GitHub repository is actually safe to use, stuff like that. So this is something that all of our agents that are in this space will be reading so that the agent would understand better how to conduct its activities safely. And under safety, also, of course, we have the specific safety skills that goes with any topic, which is organizing the skills, because it is something that we want our AIs to actually use in practice. So all of this is a good initial set. So anyone is welcome to join the space, and main participation of the person in this space. While our agents can sort of help us to do the research, push in the content, find the good skills, find good repositories, find good content that is reputable, it is up to us to downvote it, upvote it, and rank it so that we agree together as a community that those skills are exactly the skills that our agents need, and that they are safe and they can help us build up content on Geo. So we have, and these are some of the general skills that we are kind of highlighting as some of the most relevant today for some of the relevant categories here. Sources. So this sources is basically from the blog posts or research papers and anything I showed here. Obviously, all of them are coming from somewhere. So either from companies, if it's a blog post, for example, or documentation, either from some institutions or standard bodies like papers right here, and specific individuals like X post, etc., that we consider trustworthy. So all of these sources we can rank together and decide how high they rank for us. And if these sources are ranked well, that means that any research papers or posts or documentation is relevant to be here, right? So like, to keep this kind of practical and relevant. So we have the best documents that our agents can get the most use out of. So that's the approach. And we have on Tuesdays the community calls for the space. So feel free to join us. And the overall takeaway of this space is basically it's an agents hub. So we grow our agents together. let your agent join the space. It can see which information we as humans agreed to be the highest quality, the files and skills that are highest quality for our agents. And so our agents are growing. So we are together as a shared project, growing the strength and abilities of our own agents. And as those agents grow up, they can then participate in other spaces and help us build out other spaces outside of this. So this is sort of where we start that process. So that's the intro for the Agents Hub.
Amazing. And a quick reminder for everybody who'd like to join the community call, please remember to join the space as a member before joining the call so you are able to fully participate in the call. And with the leftover 5 minutes, I'd like to invite Catalin to share some updates on the AI space.
Let me share my screen.
Yes.
First, I'd like to congratulate Sat Shoaib for the submission of the week. He's currently working on a data set of US executive orders. We have orders from Biden and from Trump. Then, on the main page of the AI space, we have some trending claims. My favorite claim is that is the one about Mark Zuckerberg new essay, as you can see here. Another interesting claim is the one about OpenAI agents who created an internal message board to show vulnerabilities. Then we have some cool trending topics. My favorite is the future is for everyone. And this is the essay made by Mark Zuckerberg. Some interesting claim are, for example, this one, where Mark argues that distributing superintelligence widely to individuals is a good thing. Another cool claim is that Mark Zuckerberg predicts superintelligence will lead to more employment over time, not less. Another interesting claim, Mark Zuckerberg argues that distillation or learning from other AI methods that banning distillation or restricting it would harm American leadership in open source AI. Then we have another important topic from last week, Quen 3.8 Max. Some interesting claims are Quen 3.8 Max is as good as Cloud Faber 5. Another interesting claim is Quen 3.8 Max is the biggest Chinese AI model. And another cool claim is Quen 3.8 Max has actually closed the AI gap with the US. And those are the main highlights from the AI space for last week.
Thank you, Catalina. I saw there was a claim with only 67% acceptance. I'm definitely gonna go and check it out after the call to see where that disagreement is. Very cool to see. Thank you.
Thank you too.
Okay, so that's the end for the call today. Any final words before we go our own ways?
Really love the work people did on the fact checking today. It was really cool to see. And so, yeah, we have been waiting to expand the group for participating in debates until we improve some of the flows there. Specifically, we've been working on improving matching and making it so that you can, set your positions easily and match with other people to start a debate. So we're dialing that flow in. I think we've got it to a really good place. And then we're going to be excited to roll it out to more people for internal testing. So please keep an eye out for that. Content-wise, I feel like the spaces are starting to really converge and get ready. So I think we've got a really good foundation for opening things up. So yeah, thanks again for the great work. All of the work that you do to organize, content, especially around the main topics that we're going to be going live with, goes a long way. Helping to really structure the claim sources, and evidence also really helps. And I'm already seeing a lot of really ripe topics for discussion and debate that people have been organizing. So Keep it up. Thank you for joining us today, and have a really great week. We'll see you back here next week. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good week, everybody.
Bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good week.
Thank